Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I'm Matthew Long, the executive editor of the CHTonsports.com. You see over here. I'm also the host of the Cold Hard Truth on Sports radio show, which you can see every Tuesday evening listen to every Tuesday evening from 8:30 to 11:30 on Blog Talk Radio, or you can go over to the CHTonsports.com and click on the listen link that's in the upper left-hand corner and listen to the full versions of the show over there as well. Today I want to get into a little bit of boxing. There has been some kind of mix-up and turmoil and things going on within the heavyweight division. So there's a lot of things going on there. Now, Deontay Wilder is the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. I have been very critical of him. He is the first United States champion in over a decade. He's held the belt for about a year and a half and hasn't really fought much of anyone. At the time that he fought people, only one has been within the top 15 at the time that he fought them, according to every major ranking. Two of them were within the top 20 of the WBC rankings. Those two being Berman Sterveen, who he won the title from a year and a half ago in January, and Johann Duhaupas, who was his most recent fight that he won by knockout. Duhaupas is currently ranked, they have him as the fourth in line right now to fight for the title again. Wilder's already beat him. So a lot of people are saying, okay, I see July 16th, there's an announcement that Chris Arreola, who is a former champion, kind of, he's scheduled to fight him. They thought that was going to be his first title defense. Arreola was up much further in the bouts because Arreola is the guy that Sterveen won the belt from. Now, let me paint this picture for you right now. Chris Arreola is not ranked currently in the top 40 in any boxing ranking that I could find. So that means even in the WBC, he's not in their top 15, 16, 20. He's not ranked there. So Wilder again, his last fights were Johann, he was the best guy since Sterveen that he's fought. Eric Molina is ranked in the top 15, top 16 of different rankings. So that seems to be now, as the time that he fought him, he was ranked in between 20 and 30 in the world. Again, to defend the heavyweight title against that person, the top 20 or 30, those aren't the guys that you're looking to fight against. Wilder has over 30 fights under his belt. Number of knockouts. The only person he hasn't knocked out so far was Berman Sterveen, the Haitian. So that's the only guy he hasn't knocked out yet. Now, Chris Arreola is supposed to be one of those fighters that is, supposed to be able to challenge him, I guess. He's ranked 44th currently in the world and 15th in the United States, according to BoxRec. So here's kind of the breakdown. So the question wasn't Alexander Povetkin, wasn't that the guy that he was scheduled against? Absolutely. Povetkin is the guy that he's scheduled against, and he is still actually the current mandatory challenger for him, the number one contender for the WBC belt. They're saying, well, he tested positive for performance enhancers. Yes, he did. He tested negative before then, he tested positive, and he's tested negative since then. The WBC has not come down on a ruling with Alexander Povetkin. That fight could still be the mandatory. Wilder wants to fight in July, which we're just about a little over a month, about 5 weeks away from. And Chris Arreola, I'm guessing, is the only guy on short notice that they would really be able to pick up and have some sort of a fight against. Now, if he fights in July, the likeliness of him fighting again by the end of the year is lessened. Again, he normally fights in January, and then he'll fight again 6 months later. So he fought in January, and he beat Johan. So now he's going to fight again in July. So getting him again in November, December would be less likely, probably again in January. So Povetkin, if the WBC says, okay, you're good to fight, it was a false positive. We're going to reinstate you, you can fight. That is supposed to be the challenger. So we'll have to see what comes of this fight. So the July 16th fight for Wilder could get canceled. It's on right now. It could get canceled if Povetkin prevails and he overcomes the doping charges with the WBC. In that case, we'll probably see something pushed back around August or September for a fight with Wilder and Povetkin. That would be his first legitimate top 5 contender that he's faced in his career. It would be the biggest test of his career so far. Now, looking at all the boxing rankings, number 1 everywhere along the line is Tyson Fury, because he is the unified champion. Right after that, they had Vladimir Klitschko. Klitschko and Fury are scheduled for a rematch here in the next few months. Whether it gets pushed back or not, we'll see. So we'll stay tuned on that for now. But just looking at where Wilder is being ranked among most of the boxing rankings, he's ranked 3rd in, and by the way, out of the organization, the only one he is a part of is the WBC. So if you look in the WBA, the IBF, the WBO, you're not going to find him in their rankings because he's not sanctioned with them. So him not being there doesn't mean anything, really. It just means he doesn't pay their membership dues. They're different organizations. Fighters can set up with all of them, set up with some of them, or set up with sometimes none of them. Like, for example, Boxing Rec has a guy named Eriken Tepner, 15-0 prospect. They have him ranked right now 10th overall in the world. Now he's fought in the IBF and the WBC. He's not ranked in either one of those, but Boxing Rec does have him in their top 10. Johan is the only guy that is legitimate that he has beaten. Again, the guy that just fought in January against Wilder. So that's some food for thought. So I don't know if Tepper is as good as he says. I don't know if Johan's as good as they say. We don't know, but they're all over the place. Sky Boxing has Wilder ranked 3rd. Fight News has Wilder ranked 3rd. Ring Magazine has him ranked 3rd. Transnational Boxing is one of those ones that they kind of look at everything. I thought it was really interesting. They have Deontay Wilder ranked 4th. Fury, Klitschko, Povetkin, Luis Ortiz out of Cuba, then Wilder. So it's interesting to kind of see where they're looking at guys. Just to kind of look at who he has faced recently, that is in Wilder's competition. They have all, for the most part, moved up since he has fought them. So that is a positive in a way. Like I said, in a way. So Johan, again, he's ranked 3rd right now in the WBC, or 4th in the WBC. So he's only 3 spots back. Eric Molina, who Wilder fought, is ranked He's ranked 16th right now by Boxing Rec, and I believe that he is Eric Molina is among the top 15 in the IBF. Yeah, the IBF, and yeah, he's ranked right now 12th in the IBF and 12th in the WBC. So he's ranked in the top 15 of both those. Fight before Eric Molina was Stavern. Stavern is consistently ranked in the top 20. He's ranked 18th by Boxing Rec. Stavern is ranked 8th by Transnational. Ring Magazine has Stavern at 6th, and he's ranked 5th by Sky. So, and he's number 2. He's the number 2 contender in the WBC. So the rankings usually move all over the place depending on who looks at them. It's for those of you that are watching this, trying to kind of understand. Think of your college football polls. USA Today, the coaches poll, the BCS poll, the national championship tournament poll. They're all different. You know, they've all been different. Some of them line up in certain ways, usually the top 3, or, you know, there's a commonality between number 5, 6, or 7. And that's just based on people's opinions of where they are. Now, as far as each individual commission, there are a lot of politics in boxing. So there's thoughts that sometimes you pay the commission and the commission ranks you higher. Sometimes it's, you know, you have to fight so much under a commission to grant you being ranked under that commission. So you could box very well, only had 2 fights under them, and not get ranked. So when we're looking at the overall stuff, it's not as simple to look at who's fighting who and who is as legitimate. I feel that the competition that Deontay Wilder has faced so far has been lackluster for what he claims to be as a champion. I'm eager to see him fight an Anthony Joshua, or see him fight Provakin, or even Polvek from Bulgaria. Some major competition. Somebody that is consistently in the top 5, top 10 at the really the top 5. It's in the top 5, pretty much consensus from everybody. Stavern is not that. Provakin is. Polvek is. Luis Ortiz is. So these are names. Tyson Fury, Vladimir Klitschko, they're kind of attached to the hip until that rematch comes. But the other guys are there. Even Brian Jennings is a guy that's been ranked in the top 10, top 15 in the world in various different ranking systems. He's even a guy that maybe even as an American boxer, you look to create some sort of commonality or some sort of rivalry among American boxers. Malik Hay, he's another guy that you can look at that is, again, another American boxer. He's ranked in the top 10, top 15 in various different rankings as well. So, or Malik Scott, Malik Scott and Hay. Well, Hay and Scott both are ranked in the top 10 or top 15 in various. So even look at them. The boxers that he's really fighting are not consistently there. And if you're going to fight outside the top 5, he should look at fighting an American fighter, getting it on free TV. But right now, as long as I'm seeing him fight in Alabama, what that tells me is the boxing world within the United States, or the world in general, still doesn't have an appetite for him. That's all I got to say here today. tune in more on Tuesdays from 8:30 to 10:30 on the boxing, or on the the Cold Hard Truth on Sports radio show. Again, Tuesdays from 8:30 to 11:30. The Boxing Source is on our network as well. You can catch on Sundays from 7:30 to 9:30. You can read and hear both of those shows, the podcasted version and articles, over on theCHTonsports.com. Click on the listen link to listen. Click on boxing, the boxing section, to read all about boxing. Be sure to subscribe to this hideous channel, and I will be sure to come on and muddle through more boxing, football, baseball, basketball, and major sports truths to you here in the future. You can follow us on social media, theCHTonsports.com, or me at Matt Long Sports. I'm out.